have in your association somebody who just wants information. They're no longer serving on the board. Maybe they served on the board in the past, or maybe they're just a homeowner who loves to get all the detailed information, and they call the manager recurringly saying, give me this and give me that, fill me up with information, do this research for me, get me taken care of. The fact is, the law says that if a homeowner wants information that the board has, you have to give it to them. We get that. That's pretty important. But how you get it to them is the other side. Number one, there's a cost involved. Now, the law is also making it clear that we can't charge them a lot of money to do this, but there is a cost involved. Your association can't charge them just because you feel like charging them, but if you have to recoup the cost that you have to do this stuff. So if your management company, PPM in this case, says, we're happy to help you get this done, it's going to take about an hour of our secretary's time, so there'll be a secretarial charge to get this accomplished. And then the board agrees, yes, we're happy to share that information with them. Would you go ahead and get the research done, and we'll pay the $65 to get it done. And then you may want to share that with the homeowner who's asking for the information so you can get reimbursed for that before you even start. Make sure they understand we're happy to do it, but it's going to be a cost to us because our management company does not do that for free. And there's a real balancing act there because the law tries to say there's no charge, and yet you have to recoup the charges you might have. Now, how do you deal with that homeowner and get them to knock it off? I think that's what you really want. I mean, you want them to stop, you know. I'm not sure you can. I think that to get them to stop is to share with them enough to let them see the transparency so the questions go away on their own. Is there a limit to what they can have? Here's the first thing. Even though they ask the manager for the information, they're technically asking the board of directors by way of the manager. The manager doesn't have the authority unless you gave it to them to give that information out. So you may want to set a policy in your organization. If a homeowner asks for ABC, Mr. Manager, give it to them without question. Go ahead and hand it to them. If they ask for these other items, D, E, and F, we'd rather you bring that back to the board table and let us decide what we're going to do about that. Can you say no? Only on a few things can you say no. We want copies of all the checks you wrote. I don't think you can have copies of all the checks we wrote. There's some classified information on there, like the routing numbers and all that stuff, even though it's not top secret because it's on every check. There's things that the law says you don't have to give them that stuff. The delinquency report of who's delinquent and how much they owe, that's all private information. They can't have that. How about the negotiation of a contract you're working on? We know that in executive session we can talk about the formation of a contract or the negotiation of a contract, so that's confidential. No, they can't have that until the contract's been approved. And once the contract is approved, then yes, they are entitled to see that contract. And here's the optional thing here. They're entitled to see it, but they have to follow the rules. The law says they have to ask for it in writing. They are permitted to come and look at it, and if they want a copy, they got to pay appropriate copying fees. So now you got this. So am I just going to say, there's my file room, go back there and have a good time, look at whatever you want to look at? I don't think so. I don't want my files all messed up. So I've got to have some kind of established procedure on how they're going to get their hands on these documents. That might mean paying a secretary's fee so somebody is standing around watching them or gathering documents for them. How much can a new board member ask for, or any board member ask for? And the answer is everything and anything. They are not restricted. A board member has the absolute right to see everything. And I've actually heard of there was a small association, thank God we didn't manage them, in Palm Springs, where the treasurer happened to call our office and say, can you believe my board president won't let me, the treasurer, see the full financial because he says it's none of my business. You're being mismanaged. The treasurer needs to see the financial, for crying out loud. In fact, every board member has an absolute right to see everything. Now, do you want that board member to tie up management's time and cost to start digging up a bunch of research stuff? I don't think so. But that's where, as board members, you gather this information month to month. you can throw it away or you can archive it and save it and have it available. So when a new board member comes along, somebody on the board's got a nice book or a stack of paperwork that says, if you'd like that, here's my information that I had. I'm happy to share with you at no cost. They can look all through that. Then they come up with a question or two about things that happened that you didn't happen to have in that stack. We can get those things answered. And then just make sure your new board member, fellow board member understands that like everything we do, it all costs money. Time is money. Management put the contract for you together, understanding what you were asking for when you asked for our services. I think we're going to have enough services. We need your time for 10 hours a month or 50 hours a month or 1 hour a month, whatever it was that was agreed upon when the contract with management was formed. If you start exceeding that, eventually two things happen. Your manager gets worn out because they're doing their best to please you, so they want to say yes to every request, and they get worn out. And then they go back to our boss and say, I've got this association that's wearing me out. And the boss comes through and says, how about some more money? We need to change your contract because you're taking too much of our time up. And it might be one board member who's just really got a bent for wanting all this detailed historical information, and there's bound to be a way to weigh that out and make it work. Certainly all the minutes are easy to figure out, and if you properly document the transactions, then the minutes will reflect that. And we now have things set up in a way that it's all on electronic email type stuff. You get the financials, the payables, all emailed to you every month, so it's readily available. We can email it to a new board member as well. So there's ways to get it in a simplified manner now, but they are entitled to it.